I don't think it's any secret that the government, no matter who it is always cooking the books to try and make themselves look better.
Mm.
Right? Whether it's the jobs figures, the economy, crime statistics, or even waiting lists on the NHS. And it's this last group I'd like to look at a little bit closer, the waiting lists on the NHS. There are around 6.3 million people in the UK waiting for hip replacement procedures, for example.
Yeah.
This, from a population of around 70 million people, is almost 10%. And of these, around 190,000 people have been waiting for more than a year for the operation, many in pain. So, being at the end of the queue, you know, it's not fun. Patients at A&E have long waits too. Around 1,000 people every day have a wait of 12 hours or more to be attended. 12 hours or more to be attended. Now, we know politicians lie, and Wes Streeting, being a politician, is no different. He claimed that a drop of 260,000 people from the backlog of waiting patients was due to a record investment and NHS reform. This is what he said. We find out that actually 240,000 appointments were being removed from the waiting lists each month. And that was because either people had died, they'd gone private, or they've gone abroad. They've got it done somewhere else, rather than the course of treatment was carried out by the NHS.
Right.
I could go on, but for time's sake, I want to get to the crux of what I wanted to chat about. So I ask, what is the main reason for the backlog of patients waiting for treatment? Why? In a lot of cases, we've heard this on the TV many times. There's a lack of physicians available to carry out the procedures. Or, in other words, the sparse number of doctors. Right? We've heard of many the cry of, we need to import more doctors. That's why many doctors are coming from India and coming from Pakistan.
Yeah.
Right? Right. So one must assume that the doctors would be the doors for the doctors would be flung open for homegrown doctors to practice. Right? Are there universities for students? Sure there are. But here's the thing. Some of the largest NHS trusts in the UK are barring students looking for work experience, a vital part of learning the craft. And the reason? Well, the students are studying in private education. That was the reason. So places like Barts and University College London Hospital only allow state school students. Well, there you are. King's College Hospital Trust. King's College Hospital, the largest medical teaching hospitals, is giving priority to those who are not privately schooled. Right?
Okay.
Without this work experience, a student can't get a medical degree and become a doctor. So around 200,000 students studying to become a doctor through private tuition will not realise their vocation, not because they're struggling to learn their ABCs of medicine, but because of petty politics.
Yeah.
When the UK is screaming out for doctors and the queues for treatment are growing, that's when the patients aren't dying. You would have thought that enough is enough. And like I said, in the meantime, India and Pakistan are sending across doctors that study for only 3 years, when English doctors have to study for 5 years to try and make up the shortfall. And my conclusion is that there's no wonder the NHS is in a mess.
Yeah.
So your comments on that one?
Well, I mean, this isn't new. I know I keep saying that, and I shouldn't.
Yeah.
But this was
this
going
reason, it may not be new, but it's only now that it's come out. Why?
Yeah. Well, yes, and again, this is ideology, um, politics interfering with our everyday lives. It, as Evan, I will admit, yeah, okay, is there still a class system existing in the UK? We know there is. Yeah, there is. Um, although people that are going and people that go into private education aren't always massively rich or wealthy. Their family, okay, it might be families that have done quite well. The father may have started off as a tool maker somewhere and worked his way up into the higher echelons of British society.
Get grant
Um, yeah,
bursaries.
yeah. I mean, if I had, yeah, I mean, um, any parent will want the best for their children. Any normal parent will want the best for their children. Yeah, I've always said to my daughter, I want you to do better than I am or have ever done. Yeah, and she's on track to do that. So whether the bar is set very low or she's ambitious, but um, it is, um, yeah. Again, it swings from one side to the other. Okay, you can have it where the extremely wealthy and all that get the opportunities to become, I'm going to say, doctors, lawyers, other professions as well that have always been established as being well-to-do professions. Okay, should that happen? No, it shouldn't. There should be opportunities for everyone. But when you're in a crisis level, yeah, and this is where yeah, it swings one way and another in the UK. We go from one extreme of a government to another sometimes. This extreme Labour government we got, yeah, is going to try and put in their working class, yeah, try and appeal to the person on the council estate, which is noble. I've no, yeah, I come from almost that, not quite, but almost. And yeah, to give them opportunity. Well, if you want to give them opportunity, you look at the problems in education earlier on, not when they're leaving. Yeah. And um, and now they want to destroy private education as well, in effect with the VAT
Of course.
on the schools. Yeah. And that's where you are getting your supply of qualified, if you like, intellectual, intelligent people. I'm not suggesting anyone from anywhere a state school is anything but educated. But yes, they've got the money to then go on and privately study. Um, so what I'm saying is, yes, you've got to carry on. We've got to carry on as it is at the moment. Then look how our state education system is working. Yeah. If you want to bring that up through there, that is a long-term plan. That is not something you're gonna rectify with
Mm.
just with a years of a very strange doctoring. Yeah.
Let's just go back to what you said earlier on. You said it's not nothing new. Well, actually, it is.
Mm.
I was reflecting whilst you were speaking
Yeah.
because when I was around about 20 years old, I used to date a girl,
Yeah.
and she was in the university.
Mm.
And at that time, university was paid for by the government.
Yeah.
You used to get a student's grant,
Mm. Yeah.
right? And then all of a sudden, then you had to have student loans. You
Yeah.
borrowed from the university.
Mm.
And those people who could afford it paid for university,
Yeah.
right? So the difference is exactly the same. The course
Mm.
is the same.
Yeah.
The course is the same. It's just one is paying money up front for their education,
Mm.
and the other one is taking out a loan to receive their education. But
Yeah.
it's the same education,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
right? So, it can't be a case of class class because everybody's getting the same.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the same opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
I'm not saying
It could be, like you said, that the government or the governments, plural,
yeah.
or the people at the NHS
Mm.
are trying to get rid of private education,
Yeah.
right? Which to me seems more possible.
Yeah. Okay.
That
Well.
it's not necessarily a government thing
Mm.
because the NHS are a series of trusts.
Yeah.
They're private. They're private. People are talking about making the NHS public, private.
Yeah.
It's already private. They're all trusts that
Yeah.
government funds.
Yeah.
And so I think
Business-like.
yeah, that's right. So it's the trusts that make the policy and not necessarily the government of the day. And I think it's probably the socialist people at the head of the trust that are doing this.
Yeah, well, whomever. Um, yeah, but there's evidently something that has gone wildly amiss that has caused this.
Yeah.
And um, I, yeah, I mean, it must be frustrating for anyone who's looking to become a doctor, and it is a labour of love to go into the
Yes.
medical profession, and nurses
Yeah.
as well. I
Yeah.
mean, um, I do respect nurses. I mean, my grandmother was a district nurse in London in the 1940s and 50s and 60s. I mean, 70s. Yeah. Um, so um, yeah, I have nothing but respect, particularly for nurses as well. Unless we talk about doctors, but nurses or anyone going into that medical profession. Um, and it does seem to be getting more and more difficult, as you said, from things I've heard. I've not spoken to anyone personally for ages in the in the in the medical profession. It's not in the UK here, yes. I mean, yeah, and it is a yeah. You've got to. It's something you've got to want to do. It's a profession you've got to want to do as well. And these people do dedicate themselves to doing it. And I don't care if they come from private or state education. They've got determination and grit to prove it. Yeah.
Mm.
And as you quite rightly said, it's not a case you do a day and a half's course and hey, off you go. You've got to learn
Right.
your trade.
Yeah. Of
And
course.
and again, it is an almost extension of DEI um, recruiting as well.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily DEI because that's
Yeah,
based
but
on,
yeah,
but
based on other
on
things. Yeah,
I would say on
ethnicity and other things. Yeah, but
ideology is the word I was looking
ideology.
for.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's again, this is part of the ideology as well. Are we going to give up? Yeah, well, the end goal would be to have everyone, as you said, equal. I mean, and where you're quite right, where people misunderstand the loan system with education, nothing is ever free. Somebody's paying taxes or paying it for somewhere.
Yeah.
If you're studying to be a doctor, okay, somebody has the privilege of being able to pay for their education up front, pass and good. Somebody who is going to be in that same job, all that's going to be happening is they're going to be paying probably 3-4% of their salary towards paying off a loan. That's
That
an
they took out.
investment on their behalf. Yeah.
That's right.
And this is what people do. And there are ways and plans you can actually figure out, I believe, how to pay it as well. You know, it's not somebody suddenly knocks on your door and says, I want all the money back. You pay it back over time and you are investing. So, okay, where somebody from a wealthier family can afford up front to do it, that doesn't mean that somebody can't actually achieve it and just might have to accept that they budget for their salary. Yeah, part of the salary is going to be paying off their student loans, which is, I say, relatively inexpensive. You invest. And it's like me. I've had to invest, pay for different courses in my life to be an engineer, yeah, or do engineering. And it was an investment. Father helps as well on occasions. And I've bought books and things like this. Okay. It's all part of it.
Yeah.
Um, and we all know that universities are offering all sorts of weird and wonderful courses as well, but I'm not going to go too much into that. But yeah, medical are important, and maybe the government should be stepping in and saying, well, we may be footing the bill to have more doctors as an investment. Yeah. Um,
The information I got here, what it didn't tell me
mm,
is how many students gave up to be a doctor
yeah.
because they found that they're rowing against the tide when it comes to be accepted
Mm.
to give continuity to their course, to their education, so they could reach that doctor status. You
Yeah, I
know,
mean, dropout rates on courses, yeah. I mean, some people do go into a profession and find it's not for them, which is a good thing. They find out earlier on.
but
Um,
it's not necessarily just finding out it's not
yeah,
for them, but the fact that they're
they're gonna,
hitting their head against a brick wall,
yeah, they're going to hit the
trying
wall.
to
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
trying to get on, and they can't. They're being blocked because they had a private education. I think it's scandalous.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, uh, yeah,
And this is from a guy who went to a comp, by the way, people.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, comprehensive school. Yeah, yes. Like me, I had a state education, and yeah, I can read, write, and do some mathematics.
Yeah.
Um, it is a. I mean, yeah, we get. I I do think that yes, this was all started, I believe, in the Blair era of yeah, trying to open up opportunities and everything else, which are noble. I'm not against this. Yeah. Forcing the issue doesn't always help. You, you, dare I say it, countries that have long-term plans normally succeed. Countries that try and fix things in a fortnight are doomed to failure. Yeah. There's no planning. I mean, this has been a problem in the UK politics for a while now. People swap and keep changing and chopping. Um, and we've had successive governments that haven't actually funded the problems on the domestic front, but quite happily give out money, and not just the present administration, quite happily give out money and get involved with things that maybe they shouldn't be because we're not actually too comfortable at home. Um, and I'll say it to any country, even here a few years ago. Yeah, there were problems, and the administration was quite happily doling out money to other countries around them. Um,
I think if the government wants to do a sort of scheme, and I hate the word scheme
yeah, I know
because
what
it
you
never
mean.
work out,
Yeah,
where they can make life easier for people without prejudicing others, that I'm all for that.
yeah,
Because in this case, the NHS is it's running dry with doctors. We're having to
yeah,
import doctors.
yeah,
So instead of allowing one group in and prohibiting the other,
mm,
it doesn't do any good. It isn't for the good of the country.
no.
It's just for the good of somebody's ideology who may be a little bit socialist. And you know, uh, for me, for me, it's a scandal.
Actually, I agree with you, and um, it's I know that's what we're both talking about opportunity. Do long term. I don't like scheme. We say project. Have a long term project of opportunity, not this crazy leveling up with north and south and everything else. Yeah, you look at the overall society. Why do we have a shortage of doctors? We can't get enough in, or we're excluding some. Um, okay, we've got the grammar school system, which, yeah, the present administration's always been trying to get rid of as well. Um, but that works. I mean, I didn't. Yeah, I did. I dropped out the grammar. Yeah, there's things that happen with me, but I did all right. Like, yeah, life. But having people that want to do something, they should be encouraged.
Yep.
Um, and that's how you do it. You don't exclude anyone. You do need. We have to accept that British society has always been. I'm going to use the term
A
two
mixed a
tier.
mixed bag. It's a
Yeah,
mixed bag.
yeah. And in and don't forget, we still had a successful country until the 70s or 80s. Yeah, well, beyond the 80s, just beyond the 80s, probably in the 90s, it started to go a bit downhill.
Mm.
Um, and that was because we had the mixed, but we did offer opportunities for people to start on the council estate and graduate as a doctor. Yeah,
Mm.
there were these opportunities. Where are they gone? They're not suddenly disappeared. Um, and yeah, yeah. Then the next thing is, in order to achieve your goals, you start lowering standards.